Hi guys, this is the number three video on the Chinese EV leadership in the world. And last time we talked about the advantage or strengths of Chinese EV production. They're all, share one common feature is that they are all observable, they are tangible. You can just go China, go to China and see it. You see the charging station, you see the batteries, you see the electrical vehicles on the street. Those are all tangible. That's actually something that I want to emphasize here. In this time, this video, I want to talk about something that hidden, that is not so obvious, but you really have to know China in order to understand, in order to be aware of those problems. My general point is that the U.S. really doesn't have to worry too much about China because China is such a country that can do something very well and nobody else can beat it. Okay, but on the other hand, China can have some weakness and vulnerability that is also not shared by the other countries, other people. So that's why the U.S. has been. I can sense the anxiety. I can sense the sense of insecurity about China, and a lot of people are saying. A lot of people are certain, including you know. Secretary of State of this country is saying that China is one determined to change the work order that created by the U.S. I'm not so sure, to be honest, because for now, if you understand China, you know that China will be happy right now to enjoy the benefit of the globalization, okay, the free international trade. Why? Because they are benefiting them for the most part, okay. So that's why there's no sense for China to overthrow the existing system and start it over again with himself, with China itself to be the leader. I'm not sure if that makes much sense. And I think when Chinese people, when Beijing people from Beijing tell the U.S., tell the Washington that we have no intention to overthrow the existing system, I think there's some truth in it. At least give them, some benefit of the doubt. Okay, and then, like Reagan says, and trust but verify. At least you give a chance to trust it, and then verify. That makes more sense of it. Okay, so I'm gonna, I started from talking about the EV production, but I want to switch into a more intangible things that are some vulnerability that people outside of China it's hard to appreciate it. The first thing is language. Let's start from the very basic, very fundamental weaknesses or vulnerabilities. The China, the Chinese people has very. I really want to say that they have very low proficiency of English. Okay, I remember the other day the Chinese people were arguing in the mainland China. They're arguing about what's the meaning of the submit, the English word submit, and then they were not so sure that what that exactly that it mean. So this is a country that where people study English and they memorize everything. And but when it comes to applying that knowledge, they are really low. Okay, and but why is that important? Because in today's world, English is ruled. It's ruling the world. I remember watching a movie that talking about the black man. He has been a butler in the White House for more than 37 years. I think when he first went to White House was like a JF Kennedy, right? And then I remember in the movie, his wife was curious that how many pairs of shoes Jackie Kennedy has. And then when the butler told her that his wife that Jackie has like 125 pairs of shoes, and then his wife just totally shocked. But the other thing that I also interested is that they were saying that with a sense of admiring that Jackie can speak French. Okay, so it make me remind me that when back in that time, there's some elite society who would be proud of speaking French. But today, that's not anymore. Not the case. Basically, the English is the one number one. So I'm not saying that the French is gone, but it's just lost that sense of pride. You know, it's no longer as a differentiator, for the elite society from other societies. The English is ruling the world. Let's face it. So that's why that also means that if you don't speak English, if English is not your working language, you are more likely to be isolated, become an internationally isolated island, cultural island. Okay, so you may want to say, well, you have an interpreter. That's not the same. The leaders can speak English, and that suddenly, let me put it this way. In the diplomatic event with people shaking hands, right? But if you both speak the same language, it's like you're shaking hand with your right hand side with your right hand, but then you put your left hand on the shoulder of each other. So uh, that means that it's like sending a message that I can trust you. We are at a personal level. We like each other. We believe each other. Those kind of things. So this is unreplaceable with the formal diplomatic speeches. It's more like a small talks. It's more like unprepared talks. It's more like unscripted conversations. There's coming out of nowhere. You could chat in just the conversation. Be able to do that. That actually makes a big difference. That's a lot of actually, not of China is kind of unusual because today even many developing countries, their leader can speak English. Okay, partly because in the colony, but partly also because they learn, they are more open, they have more accessibility to the LinkedIn, the Facebook, Instagram, those kind of things. So the Chinese now they are talking about shutting down the English word, the English courses for the student. That's a disaster. That's the opposite thing that the China need. China need to be open yourself to the world, to get into the English world, to have more people who's able to speak English and who has the desire to blend in the society, in the American society, and wherever, or even the English speaking society, or European countries, Western countries. You blend it in. What is best, what is sad is that make me sad is that I see in many the Chinese student in this country, uh, I don't think they have a strong desire to blend in, to melt in, to mix in with the local culture. It's all about the utilitarian. It's all about getting a degree and then wrap up and then go and get a job either in this country or go back to China. So that's not the way to do it. So the Taiwanese actually do a better job. Let's think about this. Putin and Zelensky. The two guys have almost identical first name, Vladimir, right? I mean, I can't even tell the difference. You know, that shows that how close their culture is. Right? It used to be the same country and the USSR. Now they're divided into different countries. But then, look at the leaders. Zelensky can speak. I look at the other day. I was watching Zelensky's address in the UN General Assembly. He's speaking English, very good English. Putin, I've never heard him saying English publicly, at least. So that makes a big difference. You say that one is that the Putin because he invaded the Ukraine and Zelensky is a victim, so he got all the support. But also another thing is that Zelensky was able or is able to communicate with the Western leaders. That's what matters a lot, even though it's a lot of not many people are willing to admit it, but that makes a big difference. But Chinese are talking about the yuan shu Waijiao basically means that the diplomacy of the by the head of a state. But look at the Xi Jinping. I mean, he can probably say only what English word he can say is okay. That's it. He can not enter any international occasions without an interpreter. That's different. Having an interpreter or you speak English yourself, that makes a big difference. Especially for China right now, they need English to understand the technology, to learn from English American culture, English speaking culture, and to understand that that's what to make this Chinese society more modern. Okay, so let's stop here.